The second point is about the quick action of the fire-earth pattern. It requires entrepreneurship. However, he mistakenly thinks that just because he has investment and holds the title of chairman, he is an entrepreneur. In reality, the company isn't his. He doesn't actually control it. These 3 points are often encountered when dealing with large patterns. If you only remember the pattern, you'll forget these 3 things you need to pay attention to, and in the end, it often doesn't work out for him. Alright, this time on my channel, we're starting a special storytelling series. I'll be talking about some of the concepts and stories from the book I wrote, the one displayed behind me, so that everyone can understand what my senior brother is actually writing about. In the channel, we've mentioned that when it comes to patterns or frameworks, there are actually many conditions that need to be met. It's not the way most people imagine it to be. And in this story, actually, there's another issue as well. That is to say, in the story, the example mentioned is called Fire Soup Brother. The story also talks about how fire soup or various other things can make money, become famous, make a name for themselves at the borders, or accomplish all sorts of remarkable feats. But there's actually a very important key point. There must be a corresponding process of 4 transformations. If that's missing, then none of it will happen. So in the previous example, his other mentor told him that he was a fire tank, but in reality, a fire tank must be connected to drawing a path and drawing a circle. However, his greed had neither drawing in nor drawing a circle, so he couldn't become a fire tango. Of course, the concept of fire tank simply doesn't exist in this case, but it can't be denied that, because this is a 10-year luck cycle, your greed could still connect to drawing in and drawing a circle, possibly at some point within a single year. So, aside from the previously mentioned issue that his fire tank doesn't form a complete pattern, there is actually another problem. We'll reveal this other issue in more detail on our members-only channel. For a good pattern to appear, besides needing both drawing a path and drawing a circle, there are also certain things it must not encounter. So, what are those things? A good car needs to have sufficient conditions, but at the same time, it also must not encounter certain problems. If you take a Ferrari and remove its engine, then put it in a muddy field, that Ferrari won't be able to show what it's truly capable of. At the same time, if a nearby building collapses and crushes it, then it basically just becomes scrap metal, right? So a good structure is the same way. Besides having you all draw and circle things, what else? Another very important point is that there can't be more than 2 sources of negative energy. There can't be more than 2 sources of negative energy. In this story, the problem is that the teacher doesn't understand the concept of hidden river attack. If you've watched my channel, you know what a hidden river attack is. That fire beach pavilion, next to it, secretly brought in a green goat, and after adding the hidden river attack, what happened? It ends up exceeding more than 2 sources, So this setup is basically broken. The second important point is that the rapid development of the fire soup configuration requires entrepreneurship. However, in the story, someone invites him to be the chairman, and he can invest. He mistakenly thinks that by investing and being the chairman, he is starting his own business. But in reality, the entire company does not belong to him. In other words, he has no way to control that company. In this situation, he is basically just a salaried employee. That's all. He's just an employee receiving a salary, so he hasn't done what he was supposed to do. Secondly, he hasn't gained the influence or connections he should have had. Third, he didn't notice that there was a destructive star involved. These 3 points are what we usually encounter when dealing with major patterns. If you only remember the pattern, you'll forget these 3 things you need to pay attention to. In the end, even if you calculate it, it might not count. So why is it that sometimes his predictions aren't accurate? You might say, there are so many conditions. Well, of course, otherwise would the world be full of Elon Musks? Would it be full of famous celebrities? Is that even possible? Of course that's impossible, right? Okay, if you like this series, please let me know. I will gradually, step by step, share with you the stories from our book, or even more exciting stories. Fortune-telling experiences,